Hey guys, we're here today in Valheim, and it is the 4th of July, or Independence Day if you're in America. So I thought it would be appropriate to talk a little bit about freedom. Specifically, how to gain yourself some freedom from all the junk you're carrying around, like great orphies. If for whatever strange reason you're trying to dump Certling cores, you're able to just throw them into a bonfire and make fireworks. But unfortunately, the game does not have any other form of getting rid of trash like being able to burn it in a fire. Normally, I do the whole classic just throw it in the ocean thing, but I've noticed over time that they don't seem to go away. I've thrown Greydorf eyes down out there, and you can see them a little bit here, and I have not seen them disappear at any point. Maybe I'm missing something, but they're not in the radius of a workbench, and they still just sit there. Which no doubt puts just a little bit of more strain on the server every time I enter this area to try and load those Greydorf eyes back in along with everything else. So although throwing it in the ocean is a little bit better than just throwing it on the floor around your base, I figured there still has to be some better ways to get rid of junk. So method number one I have for getting rid of your extra junk is to locate an extra troll cave, sunken crypt, or burial chamber that you have already cleared and designate it your trash chamber or trash cave. Go inside and just throw your junk down on the floor. I threw out 1,776 Greydorf eyes, and then I left for just a few in-game days and returned to find that quite a bit of them had disappeared. So over time inside of a burial chamber or some form of dungeon, they are going to dissipate. The nice thing about this is they are out of sight while they are dissipating, which means the game should not be loading them all since we have a load screen to come into the chambers. It would seem that logically the game is only loading what's inside of it once you enter the zone. So you can throw some junk in here and not worry about it trying to load on your computer every time you enter the area. Then you just gotta wait a few days in the game and they will start dissipating over time. The other nice thing about this is I have tested waiting and letting them dissipate over time while standing right outside of the burial chamber, which means you don't need to get outside of the render distance in order for them to dissipate. It just takes a decent amount of time. So you could build a base around this and make it your little trash basement. That way you don't have to do any traveling in order to throw stuff away. Option number two, mark a Kraken or Leviathan on your map, and whenever you need to make a trash dump, head over to your local barnacle bud to fill them up with garbage. You can dump a bunch of junk on top of them, and due to the terrain on them, it doesn't roll off into the ocean. And then you can get right back to whatever it is you'd like to do. Get back to some smelting and blacksmithing, or go back on an adventure. Given enough time, the junk on this island will also dissipate. And if you're sailing out into the middle of the ocean to place it on one of these guys, you don't have to worry about being an area that you're going to a lot and having to have your computer render them all again. Odds are you'll have enough time between your garbage trips that the items will have time to decay without giving you much of a bother. And option number three can be just a little cheesy, but might be good for you if you don't mind bending the rules but don't want to go all out and activate the dev commands to remove all the drops around you. Just collect all the items you need to throw away and simply start a new server designated to be your junk server. And then you can just log into this server and dump all your excess junk here. You will have to load everything in every time you log into this server, but it'll only be every now and then. And ideally, maybe do it in a burial chamber, just like option number one, and then camp on this server outside of it just to give yourself a little bit more shot of them decaying themselves. Keep in mind that throwing garbage anywhere in the world, eventually it will seem to decay as long as it's not within the radius of a workbench, and I have never seen something decay while I was in the same area as it, and you do need to be outside of render distance. So you could just keep throwing your junk in one collected area or just inside the ocean, but I'm getting tired of it not dissipating because I enter the area too often. So these few ideas should fix the problem for you as well if you're having that issue. The burial chambers consider being outside of their distance, just outside of their zone, and there's no workbenches allowed inside of them, so you eliminate all the problems at once. Similar thing with the Krakens, once you've harvested some chitin off them, you no longer have a need for it. So they seem like a good spot that won't be visited very often and will need a dedicated trip out to it. You also can't build workbenches on them, which means you should avoid the workbench and the render distance altogether. Hopefully these are a bit helpful to you and can help you free yourself from all the extra trash that you collect. Thanks for watching, I will see you next time.